Some fun things going on there. So I'm going to read a tweet from Senator Elizabeth Warren and then throw to Assad. So she says, stablecoins pose risks to consumers and to our economy. They're propping up one of the shadiest parts of the crypto world, DeFi, where consumers are least protected from getting scammed. Our regulators need to get serious about clamping down before it is too late. And this was in response to some comments that she made at the hearing the other day. She posted a video. Let's take a look at what she said.
DeFi is the most dangerous part of the crypto world. This is where the regulation is effectively absent, and no surprise, it's where the scammers and the cheats and the swindlers mix among part-time investors and first-time crypto traders. Shoot, in DeFi, someone can't even tell if they're dealing with a terrorist. Stablecoins provide the lifeblood of the DeFi ecosystem. In DeFi, people need stablecoins to trade between different coins, to trade derivatives, to lend and borrow money, all outside the regulated banking system. Without stablecoins, DeFi comes to a halt.
So what are your thoughts on that, everyone? Without stablecoins, DeFi would collapse. Without these centralized intermediaries who don't have cash on hand in their reserves, DeFi, decentralized finance, would collapse. Some interesting presumptions there. I definitely want to dive into her reserve requirement, but I'm going to throw this to a group to start off with. Will, start off with you. What are your thoughts? Does stablecoins rule DeFi, and without centralized stablecoins that she wants to regulate, will DeFi collapse?
I think she's totally spot on, and we should regulate the hell out of DeFi, shut it all down. Now, what she's going off and spouting off the bat, it's a little insane to see this on Capitol Hill in the first place. I think we should take a moment and just think about that. I remember reporting with Zach back in summer 2020 and thinking, like, what are these things? What is this, like, compound finance? What is this comp token? What are stable? Boom. You know, a little bit less than a year and a half later, we're on Capitol Hill and Elizabeth Warren is railing against DeFi. So that tells you how fast things are moving in general. But to your point and your question, Naomi, yes, stablecoins are the lifeblood of DeFi in many ways. I think there is Bitcoin and Ethereum are there. They're kind of like the reserve assets in a sense. But to move between different tokens, you definitely need stablecoins. You're definitely swapping out of stablecoins when you're trying to take profits. And when you're moving into a new position where you're moving between derivatives or borrowing and lending, typically using a stablecoin, using a dollar as your unit of account. So that's totally spot on. Where she's incorrect, though, is saying that there is no regulation in this space. These blockchains are self-regulating. Why? Because you can go and look at any person's position on an account and say, oh, this is how much collateral they have. This is how much interest rate they're getting. This is what the tokens they get back. It's all open and permissionless. You can view it anywhere, anytime, globally, 24/7 in a way that the traditional financial system can't even begin to comprehend. So she's very off base on that point, and I'd be pretty happy if someone in Capitol Hill could sit in front of a hearing and talk to her about that. Jen, I'll throw it down to you.
I just want to say, Naomi, this story made you so angry. Your computer screen was shaking while you were talking. You're banging on the desk.
Fury.
No, it's actually the earth that I made shake. I caused an earthquake here. Everything is moving. It's just the way I roll.
Oh my gosh. So I just want to talk about this parallel that Senator Warren drew. She said, in DeFi, someone can't even tell if they're dealing with a terrorist. And then her next sentence, or maybe the sentence after that, she said, and stablecoins are the lifeblood of DeFi. And just this language and these parallels she's drawing, stablecoins are what's funding terrorists in DeFi is really upsetting because, throughout this entire hearing, we didn't hear about how DeFi is providing financial access to people who previously didn't have it. And DeFi is actually offering a lot of solutions to a lot of problems that people all over the world have been experiencing for a very long time. But Naomi, I think that you have more to say about this, so I'm going to pass it back to you.
Yeah, just on your point, Jen, I mean, DeFi, heaven forbid people should get access to interest rates in a world where the central bank will not allow us to make any money on our reserves and are inflating the value away. Heaven forbid people should actually have access to something that could help safeguard their wealth. But I want to go back to something that she said a little earlier in the bite. She mentioned how Tether in particular is backed by potentially only 10% cash on hand in their reserves, 10% backing, which sounds very scary, right? I'm personally very scary. I'm not happy with that number at all. But let's also look at bank reserves, all right? So traditionally, they were around 10% for a while, and then they went down to 3% for a while. Guess what happened? March 15, 2020, it was announced that the Federal Reserve was changing the ratios to 0%. 0% effective as of March 26, 2020. They said that this action eliminates reserve requirements for all depository institutes. Did you guys know this? It's very interesting. This isn't even a COVID-related thing. This was announced in January 2019. The FOMC announced its intention to implement monetary policy in an ample reserve system. So they announced that later on they would be implementing this strategy to bring reserves down to 0%. That is crazy. So if you are trusting your money in the bank and you think that your bank reserves are a lot more secure than your Tether reserves, you are dreaming. But I'm going to throw this to Zach for your thoughts.
Yeah, I mean, I'll do a quick
Will,
little,
I think.
Will, yeah, go for it. Will, you got it.
Yeah. I'll jump in there really quick just to talk about the Tether reserve thing. I think that it's good to have scrutiny about Tether. It's good that financial journalists are looking into it. But this comment from Elizabeth Warren is completely off base because she's talking about only 10% reserve. Everyone who critiques Tether fails to look at the money markets that Tether also invests in, and they don't classify that as a cash reserve, even though money markets are essentially a cash reserve of sorts. It just has a very low interest rate, and they're a little bit less liquid. So I think her comment, again, is just, it's incorrect. It's totally incorrect. A lot of these things that she's saying are completely off base. And I'm wondering where she's getting this information from. And it's certainly not winning any fans among crypto Twitter or anybody else, which I think, just look at the demographic, that's where everything is moving in terms of young voters. And also there's a lot of money in crypto. So just from like a voting perspective, I think we should kind of bring that up. I don't see what she is doing that's going to help her out in the next few elections. She's just going to keep pushing this crypto native story that crypto's terrible and that terrorists are funding blockchains and attacking the American traditional financial system. It doesn't make sense. Zach, I'll throw it to you for last comments though.
Yeah, I mean, just last thought on it is Bitcoin has sort of transcended into something that's been sort of embraced by financial institutions. And I think we've seen sort of a thawing of some of the hardline anti-crypto comments around that stuff. DeFi still remains niche, right? It's still a small subset of the crypto, the crypto ecosystem. So until it's a bigger thing, until mainstream DeFi is a thing, and until DeFi really picks up on other chains where it's not as costly as it might be on Ethereum, it's still going to be an easy target, I think, until sort of mass usage kicks in. So I don't know. Stepping back, I think that's probably the dynamic at play here.